Hey guys, this is Vanessa from the Pudgy Rabbit, and today I'm going to talk about adding faces and body parts for your amigurumi. So there's lots of options for adding faces to your amigurumi, but I like to use plastic safety eyes and noses because once you put them on, they're really hard to take off, which makes them great for any projects that might get handled a lot. So I'm going to go over some tips for adding them on properly, as well as how to sew on body parts like ears and muzzles. So here I have my tiger head and I'm ready to attach my ears on. So the first thing I do is determine the front of the head, where the face will be, and I do this by looking to see where the round starts, and then directly across from that will be the front of my face. So this is the front, and this pattern states that the ears are supposed to be attached on after round 4, so I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, and my ears are going to go right after this line right here. So I'm going to grab my ear, and you can see that I've left a long tail on my ear to sew it on. I'm going to put it in place, make sure it looks okay, looks good. Let me grab some pins, and when I attach on pieces like ears and arms and legs, I use quilter pins like these, either a ball head one or a sturdier like quilter's T-pin, which is good for attaching on larger pieces. For this one, I'm going to use the smaller ball head pin. So carefully pin the ear in place, being careful not to poke yourself because I've done that many times. And there I have my first ear. I'm going to grab the second ear, count at 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that looks. Seems a little bit low, so I'm going to move the ear up a little bit and then make sure they look even from the front and from the top, and then I'm ready to pin it in place and sew the ears on. So both my ears are pinned on, and here I have my yarn needle that I've threaded with that long tail I left at the bottom of the ear, and now I'm just going to use a simple whip stitch to attach the ear on. So to do the whip stitch, I'm going to insert the needle into the head near the base of the ear, and then pull it all the way through. And then I'm going to bring the needle back through that bottom row of stitches of the ear, and then insert it back into the head near the base of the ear. Pull it all the way through, and there I've made one stitch. And I'm just going to continue whip stitching the ear on all the way around until it's secure. Just be careful not to poke yourself with that quilter's pin. And once I'm done stitching the ear on, I'm going to show you how I tie it off. So I'm making the last stitch for the ear, and it's firmly sewn on. And I can turn the head of the tiger inside out a little bit so I can knot it off. And to do that, I'm going to insert the needle through the back of a stitch like this, and then pull it through almost all the way through until a little loop of yarn forms. Like so. And then I'm going to pass the needle through this loop of yarn a couple of times and then pull it tight, which will form a little knot. After I've made that knot, I'm going to pass the needle through the back of a few stitches again and then pull it all the way through. Now I can trim off the tail. And that's how I sew on my body parts. And I'm ready to sew on the other ear. So here I have both ears attached and I'm ready to put on my eyes and my muzzle. So here are my safety eyes and nose, and you'll see that these have a post on the back with some ridges on it, and I'll attach them using these washers that will catch on the ridge and prevent the eyes or nose from coming out of your amigurumi. Here I have my muzzle and my safety nose, and the post of the nose is a little too big to fit through the stitches, so when this happens I take my crochet hook and I'll use it to stretch out the yarn a little bit, making a space where I can push the nose through. So now I can insert it into that space and make sure I push it down all the way. And then I'll double check to see that it's centered and it looks all right. I'll grab my washer and then push it down the post, making sure I'm catching all of the ridges. And there I've attached my nose. So I'm ready to attach my eyes, and I'll be placing them between rounds 4 and 5, so right at this line. I'm going to grab my first eye and push it into place. Make sure it looks right, and then I'll grab my second eye, and I like to place my eyes very close together, so I'm going to put it right next to the first eye. Looks good. And then I'll grab my muzzle and look to see where I'm going to place it, and when it looks right, I'll stuff and pin the muzzle into place. So I have my muzzle pinned in place and I'm ready to attach the washers onto my eyes. So I'm going to push the first washer on, making sure I catch all the ridges on the eye post. Okay, looks good. And now for the second washer. And since I place my eyes so closely together, it can be a little difficult to get the second washer on. So in this case, I angle the eye posts away from each other, and this will give me space to get that second washer on. So I'm going to push it in place. Gotta make sure I push it down all the way. You can see I'm readjusting that first eye to make space for that second washer. And there I have both on. And after I have both washers on, I can kind of reposition them so that the washers slightly overlap each other. So with both eyes attached, I'm ready to sew on my muzzle using the same whip stitch that I used on the ears. And I'll show you guys the finished face next. And here's my finished tiger face. Everything is attached on securely, and I'm ready to move on to the rest of the pattern. If you guys like to make your own little tiger, I'll share the free pattern link in the description below. As always, I hope you guys found this helpful, and don't forget to subscribe for more amigurumi tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.